It's pretty obvious what kind of culture they're attempting to build here. It's a culture of censorious righteousness porn, as she says, that actually tolerates actual porn, right? You have to understand that what they're acting in defense of is not a counterculture. What they're acting in defense of is an anti-culture that tears away all traditional standards. And so anybody who is a defender of any element of traditional standards, up to and including your individual right to offend, that must be torn down too. It is important that anything that smacks of the old ways, and the old ways is not just, two-parent household, the white picket fence, and the two and a half kids. It's not just that. The old ways include your ability to offend anyone. If you offend anyone, then this means that you must be cast out into the outer realms. You have to be wished into the cornfield. This is why the Grammys, right? It's hard to square, right? When you watched any of the Grammys last night, which I don't know who did, the ratings probably were garbage. But when you watch the Grammys, which is made for blue check marks on Twitter, there were two competing visions that were really at odds. One was Bill Burr said a thing, and the thing was unwoke. And this means that Bill Burr is bad, and he must trend, and he is canceled because we must never allow anything like what Bill Burr said to be said ever again, not in a public space, guys. Bill Burr has to be stopped. He's a comedian, and he violated our sense of propriety. Our Puritanism, the new Puritans, are great with porn and very bad with political dissidents. And if you disagree with them, then you must be burned at the stake. But if you want to simulate lesbian sex acts on stage in front of millions of people, then not only is that good, that is wonderful for our culture. All right, so Bill Burr, he gets up and he makes a joke because why the hell? And he's right. He was there to introduce the best Latino or Latina artist or something. And Bill Burr's like, why am I doing this? I'm a white guy. You can see all the feminists out there already complaining about it. Here's what Bill Burr had to say, and then he trended for this.
Was I the only one who wanted to kill himself during that piano solo? I bought a suit for this. I thought I was going to be on TV. I'm such a moron. I am losing so much money right now. And the winner, the Grammy goes to Natalia Lafourcade. Dude, I will accept on behalf of her. If I butchered her name, I'm sorry. All right. Hey, how many feminists are like going nuts? So why is this cis white male doing all this Latino stuff?
Okay, and people on the woke left were like, it's true. Why is that white male doing all this Latino stuff? And then commenting on it. How dare he, laughing about butchering people's names? How dare he? Right, this is where the Puritanism comes out. Because our cultural Puritans can never allow Bill Burr to make a joke about his own inability to pronounce Latino names. You can Latinx names, right? You can never make a joke about that. Is witch burning stuff, right? He must be burned. Bill Burr is a bad man because he is cis and he is white, where the H comes before the W, white, right? He is a very, very bad man. But you know what is great for our culture? What is great for our culture is Harry Styles wore a boa because he was doing a bad David Bowie impersonation from 1983. And then what is also fantastic for our culture is extraordinarily graphic simulated lesbian sex acts on stage for the brand new artist of the year, Megan the Stallion, her given name. Her parents decided that her middle name had to be the, not with one E, which would make sense. She'd be Megan the Stallion. Megan the Stallion, you are the stallion. Okay, not just she, you are. Megan the be a stallion. Okay, so she and Cardi B simulated like full-on pornographic acts. And this has been the shtick for a while, right? I mean, going all the way back to Madonna. Let's not pretend this is anything new. The simulated sex acts on stage at the Grammys has been quite a thing for several decades, but this was, I will say, uniquely graphic, right? So here was a little bit of what happened at the Grammys. Remember, our new Puritans are great with porn and infecting the culture with debauched behavior. They are fantastic with this, right? They're the same people who will say that WAP is a deeply empowering feminist song because nothing says empowerment quite like rapping about the moisture state of your genitals for the pleasure of men to consume your actual content. That is feminisming up the wazoo. Tremendous levels of feminisming. That is great for our culture. But If I Ran the Zoo has to go, guys. If I Ran the Zoo is deeply dangerous for your kids. If your kids read about the island of Mazurka with a bird called the Yurka, your kids will be ruined for life. Deeply disturbed for life. But if you give your kid puberty blockers at the age of 5 so they can decide their gender at the age of 13, and if you infuse the culture with a bunch of warmed over softcore pornography on the Grammys, and then call it high culture, that's not bad for the culture. That's good for the culture. This is like Shakespeare. It's amazing. Now listen, I'm not sure that there is a deep connection between the quality of art that a culture produces and the morality of the culture. Right? German culture produced some wonderful highs. But I will say this. I've yet to see a culture that produces low art and pretends that it is high art that is worthwhile, right? That is not a thing so just because a culture produces high art doesn't mean the culture is good. But just because a culture produces low art and that becomes the height of art, that's a pretty good indicator that you have a culture in decline. This is a culture in decline right here.
Hey, yo, wait, I get a bucket and I'm not, that's a wet. I'm talking rock, that's a wet. I make it rain if you wanna see some wet, huh?
And people cheering. Then a woman dancing inside of a box in which cash is being blown at her. This is high culture, guys. This is the height of our culture. So if I ran the zoo, very bad for your kids. No, if I ran the zoo. Huck Finn, terrible for your children. Mark Twain has to go. Shakespeare is sexist. Shakespeare is racist. Shakespeare is old-fashioned. Our new culture, however, has amazing things like this, like showing on major national television in the evening time, full-on simulated lesbian pornography. Well done, everyone. I feel our culture is in great hands. And by the way, if you make a joke about it, you ought to be canceled. If you make a joke about it, then we ought to go after your advertisers and get you fired. Okay, I'm sorry, but this new Puritanism is not going to stand because it is garbage. It is not even Puritanism on behalf of some purported higher consonance with the universe or something. It is not like I'm trying to get in touch with deeper values. I'm trying to get in touch with my God, and I can't do that while these people are dissenting. That's bad enough, right? Theocracy is bad. But this is just theocracy on behalf of pagan garbage. Okay, this is theocracy on behalf of pornography, which is a very weird form of theocracy. It is just paganism. And that pagan culture will brook no dissent. Everyone must be ruined. And if you cross the woke pagan culture, then you must be destroyed. I hope you enjoyed that clip from The Ben Shapiro Show. If you did, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you stay up to date on all of our future content.